back in 1972 when an organization at that time called the Walnut Lake Women's Club built a peace memorial in the community. It was built then at the Walnut Lake Elementary School, which was subsequently closed in the 1990s. And this memorial was built, but unfortunately it hasn't really been maintained that well. It isn't on, community property. The school is no longer there. Here's a picture right here of what the memorial looked like way back when there was a ceremony, the old Peace Memorial. And then if you take a look at this picture right now, the first picture is a picture here of the condition that this memorial was in here. Let's take a look at that. There you go. So there is the Walnut Lake Peace Memorial, and you can see it's overgrown. You can't really see anything, and that's the before picture. Let's take a look at the after picture right now. There you go. So you can see that's what it should be like, and the reason that happened is because of a couple of great guys, Bert Green and Steve K, here in our community decided to do something about it. What I really like is they actually put a video up too of getting this all done. So let's see if we can roll this video, Jared, the self-published video that they put up on Facebook.
For the first time in about 30 years, Walnut Lake will see the U.S. flag raised over the Veterans Memorial today, June 11th, 2023. Myself and Bert Green raising it up. And there we have it, folks. For all the veterans that have served our country, for our freedom, we appreciate you. And we did this for you today. Thank you and God bless.
All right, the shots taken and the narration from Steve K. Joining us is partner in crime on this project, Bert Green. Bert, good morning. Welcome to the Splash Live.
Good morning, Dave. It's great to be here and excited to be on your show today.
Well, thank you very much. And first of all, I salute you. Thank you very much for honoring our veterans and honoring the spirit of this Peace Memorial by bringing it back. Tell us a story from your perspective. I kind of told the audience and the viewers what we knew about it, but tell us a story.
Sure. So I'd be happy to. And I want to clarify, I did not serve in the military, although my dad was in the Navy in World War II. He's long since passed. But the United States military and armed forces have always been near and dear to my heart. So as you mentioned, at the old site of the former Walnut Lake School, there was a memorial that most people didn't even know it was there. Thousands of people drive down Walnut Lake and Inkster and Middlebelt roads, and you probably wouldn't have noticed it, even though it's fairly close to the road. And then my friend Steve and I were walking by one day and said, "Hey, what is that?" And we realized that there was a memorial back there. So we texted each other on Saturday night and said, "What are you doing tomorrow morning?" And we didn't have any plans. So we drove out there with some of our lawn and garden equipment and some shears and some clippers and a weed whacker and other things. And we decided to clean up the site and uncovered a little bit of the story of this memorial that was put up in 1972 and long since neglected. I can share more details at the end about a little miracle that happened, but it was just a matter of weeding, pulling some trees, cutting some things down. We repaired the fence with some spray paint, did a little tuck pointing, put up a couple of different American flags, and sort of rediscovered or unearthed this sort of forgotten memorial and community treasure that is worth your time to drive by the next time you're on Walnut Lake Road by the hardware store across from that veterinarian.
Sure, it's Walnut Lake Road, and I think you described the location real well. The school is still there. It's closed. It's been used for a variety of different purposes over the years, and that site is about to go through a major update and become a new Chaldean community center. And what is going to happen with this memorial and how they're going to integrate it into the community, I'm sure will be the subject of some conversations in the coming days. But you guys you saw this and you just went and did it. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but you didn't really get any permissions. You figured it's a memorial. It deserves to get cleaned up.
I think the good philosophy is it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. It did turn out we were trespassing, and I want you to know that this morning I've reached out by email to the Chaldean Cultural Society, and I hope we can come to some sort of agreement. I think originally they did not want to keep the memorial and maybe wanted to knock it down, but it's in the far west corner of their property, nowhere near any buildings. And I don't see any reason that they would really want to knock it down. And myself and Steve have agreed to sort of maintain it in perpetuity. It doesn't really require that much effort. But yeah, we just decided to not ask anyone. And sometimes when you ask for permission, you get paperwork involved or lawyers or the police involved. And on a Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, it took us an hour and a half, and we just did some blood, sweat, and tears to get it going, and it was nice. It felt good inside to do something for those folks that did serve our country, and it's nice to know that West Bloomfield cares about this. I've also reached out to the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. They're interested in picking up some of this story as well and trying to keep this in their anarchy. And what's interesting, Dave, is nobody really knows about this memorial. As you mentioned, it's not on township property. It's not deeded. It's not an easement. West Bloomfield didn't know much about it. The Historical Society didn't know much about it. And it really was a forgotten site that could become a little gem. And I hope if we're allowed to keep it there on Memorial Day or Veterans Day, folks can gather there and pay their respects to our military. I was thinking about putting some flowers out there and just sort of liven up that little corner of what is otherwise a little bit of a desolate spot.
Well, and no question about it. And the people in the Chaldean community and the folks who are running the Chaldean Community Center are building that new facility. This is, I'm sure, a surprise to them as well. And we're going to give them our 100% support regardless of what they decide to do about this. I'm sure there'll be a way that if it's not part of their plan to have that on that property, that we can figure out something good to do with it. And they certainly shouldn't be, leveraged to specifically do something. Now, if they can make it work, wouldn't that be great? But if they can't, I certainly would understand. And my guess is you guys would as well, and we'll figure something out, right?
I would think so. Again, I spoke to some township people. This has really picked up some steam, and I do want to leave a couple minutes for the miracle that happened with the raising of the flag.
We'll get there.
But West Bloomfield Township has the support. There's no electricity or plumbing, so there's nothing. There's no sort of bills or anything that need to be maintained. If we do get the go-ahead, I do want to put a solar-operated light that would point up at the Stars and Stripes so that it would be properly lit according to the United States Code of Flags. But,
sure.
I would think that this would be a win-win for the Chaldean Cultural Community Center. It would be a win-win for the township. It'd be a win for our veterans and our families that serve our community. It'd be a nice little place where people could perhaps, pay their respects or take a walk or bring their animals by. So I would think that it's not very complicated. There's no financial. I paid $20 for a can of spray paint and an American flag. I don't think there's any cost involved. My hope is that we can keep it in perpetuity for our community and our veterans.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and again, I applaud you. I hope you don't get like a summons or anything for trespassing on property, but I know you guys took the risk and just did what you felt was the right thing, and considering how long it had been ignored, I get it. I want to get to your miracle. By the way, that's a good tease. We like that in television because people will just stay tuned. They're waiting for the big miracle story. Before we get that, hopefully not to step on it because I have no idea what it is. Talk a little bit about what you know about the organization that built this in the first place, the Walnut Lake Women's Club, and that they're on that memorial with their insignia and their signature and the year 1972. What do you know about them and the origination of this memorial?
So, we don't know much. We are certain that the Walnut Lake Women's Club is defunct, as in it's no longer an operating organization. It's probably 50, 60 years ago, it was affiliated with the school and nearby Walnut Lake, and I would assume it was an organization of women that did civic projects and helped our community. There was an original memorial, you showed the picture in the 1800s and the early 1900s, and then when they redid the school, they built this memorial. And as far as we can tell from the Historical Society, it served two purposes. It was a peace memorial. So at the time, the Vietnam War was going on, and I think there was a lot of conflict within America about the purpose of that war, and they wanted to sort of establish a peace sort of background. Sure. And then in a little writing that I found online, it said, the memorial is dedicated to anyone that has served in any capacity to support our United States military and armed forces. I'm wearing the hat of something called Folds of Honor. I play the trumpet or the bugle, and for many years I've been involved in playing taps, both on Memorial Day as part of something called Taps Across America, but I also play taps at the funerals for our fallen service members and their families. I get a request and I drive around Southeast Michigan and Ohio and I play taps, which I also did at that memorial as well. And there's just a lot of things civilians can do to support our military. So getting back to your original question, don't know much about this Walnut Lake Women's Club. If any of your viewers know of anyone that was in the organization 50 or 60 years ago, or if they still have meetings, we'd love to get them out to the site to see the refurbished memorial that they did the hard work on. And there's a beautiful poem written on there that talks about the eternal spring that's provided when someone gives up their life for our country.
Well, Bert, no question about it. Good work, and I'm sure with Gina Gregory of the Historical Society on the job now, we'll get to the bottom of all that history. She's amazing. Okay, so there is a miracle associated with this whole story, and we're all interested in hearing about it.
Yeah, and I just want you to know I'm not a particularly superstitious person. I'm Jewish by faith, but we all believe in good deeds and miracles, and as they say, sort of God works in mysterious ways. So at this memorial, there's a flagpole behind it, about 30 feet tall, and there was a rope attached. And my friend and I, there's an Ace Hardware across the street, and I want to thank them for some of their support. So I went across the street to get some hardware to fix the fence and a can of spray paint, and I bought an American flag, and I was able to repair the rope. The rope has been out in the environment for 30 or 40 years, but it appeared to be strong enough for me to raise the American flag, as you could see in the video. Well, as soon as I raised that American flag, the rope snapped. And normally the American flag should fly away or come crashing down. And this was maybe 20 or 30 feet high. We didn't have any sort of ladder. And even if we did, we'd have no way to really climb up there. And I am not kidding. As I was looking up at it, the rope, and I have a photo of it, which I can share later, the rope wrapped itself around the flagpole and formed a little knot in the wind. And then American flag, Old Glory, was flying firmly there. My friend Steve and I couldn't figure it out. I think it was perhaps the spirit of those soldiers that gave their lives for our country. But 20 feet high on this flagpole, the cord attached itself and formed a knot so that the flag would not fall. I went back by there 24 hours later, and it was still flying strong, and the knot was still there. I can't explain it. I have a photo of it, which I can show on my phone if you want, but somehow the rope tied itself and formed a knot, and the Old Glory American flag is flying up there to this morning.
I'm with you. I'm with you. That sounds to me like a miracle. It's a beautiful thing, and there you go. Just hold that right up there. Take a look. Okay, I see it. Email me that picture if you would, and we'll get it on TV so everybody can see it. We'll get it on our website. Great story. I want to stay involved. Let's keep in touch. Anything I can do to help out with this whole issue, let me know. Kudos to the guys across the street at the Ace Hardware. I imagine this is going to pique some curiosity. The site is Walnut Lake Road, on the south side of Walnut Lake Road, and it is just, let me get this right, it is just west of Inkster Road, right there. You got the grocery store, up the hill, boom, there's the property right there if you're heading toward Civic Center TV and our community center. So great thing, great deal. Thank you very much. Bert, thank you for being available at last minute. I'm really glad you put all this on Facebook, and it's all there, and now we've got the story on video. Good to be with you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Dave. It's an honor to be on, and if anyone wants more information, we'll update after we meet with the Chaldean Cultural Society, hopefully moving forward. And I encourage those people that are out and about today or this week to drive by the site, take a look at the memorial, maybe snap a photo of it and post it as well, and we can spread the word about honoring those that served our great country.